Whoa, now what's up with the YouTube? This is TK with Cuts by Kelly. In this video, we're doing a drop fade. Man, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell, leave a comment if you have any questions about what I'm doing in this video. But that's it. Let's get into the video. Yeah! Okay, y'all can see what I'm working with. He hasn't had a haircut in a while. This is my first time cutting his hair, and it's actually for another barber in our shop. That barber was booking this, and this guy was trying to get an appointment late. He was real last minute, and this is a prime cut. He's trying to go to the prime, so I only have a certain amount of time to cut his hair, so I just tried to do as much as I could in that time limit I had. So we're doing a drop fade here. You see I'm using my supers. I got my 5-0 blade on there, and I'm just using it like it is lining clippers or whatever, or trimmers, and I'm just trying to set up my ball line. So here I go with the number 2 guard, and I am knocking out all that weight, bringing it all the way up to the top, and I'm just going straight up. I'm not going in at all, I'm going straight up, and so I can keep the shape that I want. We want to keep the right contour on this cut. Next step, got the number 1 guard, and now I'm going to set my highest point of my fade. Notice I won't go all the way to the top like I did with the 2. I'm going in the shape of the fade that I'm going. So I'm up in the front and I'm gonna drop down in the back. So after I do that, I already have, right here you can see I already have my ball line. I forgot to put that in. I'm gonna show you on the other side, but I set my ball line at the bottom, and I set my midway point with all the way open, like always. And now right now I have my 1/16 guard on, and I'm blending out that midline. It's the same steps that I always do, even though this is a different person. The steps are the same. The only thing that's different is the shape of the head and the texture of the hair. So you can have confidence when you're doing these fading steps because you know it's the same thing. The only difference, like I said, the shape of the head and the texture of the hair. So that's where the skill come in at even more, because now you're dealing with somebody with a different texture, someone who has dense hair in one spot and more fine hair in another spot. And that's when you got to try to make everything just look perfect, as if their hair grows evenly, the thicknesses is even. So that's when you start getting into the spot check and the detail work. But the fading steps are always the same. So right here I'm at the bottom of the fade with no guard, and I'm closed. Then I'm gonna go quarter, then 3/4, and open as I work my way up the fade. The main reason why it's important to have a technique or a system down, because it's a confidence builder. You know what you're doing, and you can just do it over and over on any texture hair. And so that's why it's important that you have a system. And because as a beginner, when you're learning, you're gonna try so many techniques, and then you confuse yourself because you're trying so many different techniques. You got to figure out which one is best for you and just work with that. Once you get that one down and you're comfortable with it, then you can play with different fading techniques. But my advice is find one and stick with it till you get to a point where you're real confident with that technique. So you see I finished the fade. Now I'm setting my ball line, and I use the liners to bring the fade up just a little bit more. I want my blend to be a little more tight. So I'm gonna go back over it, mainly the bottom section, just to blend it out even better. So I have my guard closed, and I work my way to quarter, and I'm using the corner of my clipper just so I don't take off too much hair. Then I'm gonna open it up a little bit more to 3/4 and do the same thing. See, I'm at 3/4 now. I'm using the corner and I'm blending out that bottom, just trying to tighten up that fade. I don't want the fade to be too long. I would like it to be tight. So I'm all the way open and I'm still using my corner and just trying to catch as many spots as I can. And you can still see little dark spots. Like right now, I'm going up here and try to get some of those spots out. Like I said before, all of that is pretty much the same length, but sometimes you deal with different densities within the head. So that's when you have to use your skill and try to get those spots out. Even if you're using the wrong guard, like right now I'm using a 116 guard in some of the areas where the 1/8 guard was, but I'm just trying to get that line out. And so yeah, you just have to work with the knowledge that you have to make it look good. So repeating the same thing on this side. Notice this hair right here in the front, it grows forward. So we have to go against it to get it down to the same length. And so these are the details that I'm mentioning that you have to be aware of, especially when you're doing the first time client. You just want to be cautious. You don't want to just go in, even though you have your technique and your confidence, that's good, but you still want to go in cautious. It's better to be safe than sorry. There are times when I cut new clients' hair and I go at it like I never cut hair before, and it kind of protects me from just being overconfident and just going in their hair and just cutting it off, cutting it too low, or wind up going over a swirl or something like that and just messing it up. So you still want to go at it a little tedious, so you can scope out the hair and make the right decisions. And that's just going to bring you on another level. They'll know that their barber is taking care of them. Now y'all see I have my ball line at the bottom. That middle line is all the way open with no guard, and my top line is my 1/8 guard. And so now I have my 116 guard closed, and I'm about to attack that middle line and work my way up to the top of the fade. question I get all the time is, what do I prefer, curly hair or straight hair? I like straight hair. Curly hair is tougher to cut. I mean, it's harder to get the blend right. So typically, I feel like if you're able to fade curly hair real good, straight hair should be a breeze. But I don't think you can do the opposite. I don't think you can fade straight hair real good and then curly hair be a breeze. Because, I mean, curly hair could be real stubborn. So, especially if it's coarse too, it could be stubborn. So, if you can fade curly hair real good, typically like your blacks, if you could fade that real good, then you can go and fade whites, Hispanics, Asians, easily in a sense. The learning curve won't be as hard. Now that's the fading part. Now the styling part, that's a whole different ball game. That might be more of a learning curve. Here we are in the back. Another point I want to bring out is when you're making those levels, like your ball line, and then you make your mid line, and then your top line. When you make those lines, it's good to extend it a little bit to the back so you can be able to see where you were in a fade or where you are in a fade. Sometimes I do it, I go all the way around the head. That way the fade can be even throughout it. But typically I do the side and then I extend to the back halfway. That way I can match up how far the drop goes in the back or how low the back goes. So just keep that in mind, because you don't want to fade one side then the other side and get to the back and realize, man, one of my fades are higher. You really want everything to flow real good. So something that I do, I just extend the line towards the middle of the head and the back so I can know about have my whereabouts. See, this part right here by the occipital bone, I think is the toughest area on all clients, typically when they're doing drop fades, because I think the hair grows tight right there or more dense in that area pretty much on everybody. Most people who I do drop fades with, the hair is thicker in that area, and so you really got to pay a little more attention in that area to get it to match with the rest of the fade. You want that blend to really look the same throughout the whole head. Right now I'm basically doing my spot check. I'm just trying to go around and catch as many spots that I can. And like I mentioned, for this haircut, I didn't have as much time. I was trying to get him out so he could get to the prime. So right now I'm just trying to get as many spots as I can so I can get him out of here. Here we go. I'm putting in some pomade by American Crew. I think I have some by Johnny B too, but I think this one is American Crew. I'm not sure, but yeah, just gonna put that in. It's a little shine to it, and I think it just makes his hair stand out, and it tightens up those curls on top too. got my Gamma Proteges, and I am getting his lining done. These clippers are sharp and they work real good. Now they don't have power like a corded clipper would have, but they still can get the job done. I typically use them mainly for lining. I don't like to use them for anything else. So I use them for designs too, but as far as like making a ball line, I try not to use them. I'd rather use my corded clippers to do that because they have so much power and it would cut down my time. So yeah, you can see these clippers are lining up real good. If you guys are still here, I really appreciate that. We're getting to the end of this video and you can see what all I did, and I think it looks pretty good. I hope you like it. If you do, make sure you hit the like button. If you like what I'm putting out, you should subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with my content. Also, if you're unsure about something, if you got any questions, put the questions in the comment section. But that's all I got for this video. I hope you like this outcome. But this is TK with Cuts by Kelly, and I appreciate you.